Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the podcast where I go onto Reddit, look at some Am I the Asshole posts, read them up, give my opinions, try to be funny, thoughtful, give advice, what have you. I'm a guy who's been through a lot, done a lot, seen a lot, and will continue to see even more. Some of the things I've read in these posts are wild, and I think today will be no different. So sit back, relax. Unless you're driving, in which case don't relax too much. Pay attention. And listen to the sultry, soothing sounds of my voice.
Unless I talk like this the entire time. Yes.
I won't be doing that. Unless you want me to. Let me know. Because I am a voice actor, so I can do a lot of things with my voice. Let me know if you want one of these read by, like, Frieza or something. Gollum. Because I can do that. Okay, the title of this makes me sad, but, you know, it's also kind of a doozy. Let's see. Am I the asshole for dropping our baby off on my ex-husband and demanding he take the baby every other week, even though he wants to be an every other weekend dad? Yikes. Okay. Again, this, like I said, makes me sad because I feel like this is a situation where everybody's going to piss me off because they're all going to be being stupid fucking grown-ups, dumbass people who shouldn't have had kids about their kid the whole time. Like, so probably going to get, like, annoyed because it's a baby. The baby didn't ask to be here. It's a kid. Take care of the kid, okay? I don't care what mistakes you made and all that. The kid's here now. It's yours. Take care of it. Assholes. Anyway, let's, get into it. This is so messy. God, I hope so. My ex-husband, 29 male, and I, 28 female. Damn! Divorce before you're 30. Tragic. Originally agreed not to have any children. Great start. We live in Texas. Ew. And this world just isn't a place I wanted to bring a child into. That is fair enough. I also never wanted to be a mother. Your prerogative. My IUD failed and I got pregnant. Nah, ain't that about a bitch. I was devastated because I wouldn't be able to get an abortion since we live in Texas. See, and that's why I said ew to Texas. If you live in Texas, if you are offended by me saying ew, you're part of the problem. And everyone else, you know why I said ew. So, I wanted to travel out of state and get an abortion. And I wanted to get him to get a vasectomy since I didn't want to risk this happening again. Since neither of you wanted kids, it seems fairly reasonable. He refused both. Of course he did. Don't they always? He said he wouldn't take me out of state to get an abortion, and he made me very scared of criminal charges. Motherfucker, you didn't want the kid either. Why are you being a prick about it? You didn't want the kid. Why? What the fuck? He also refused a vasectomy to prevent more children since he, quote, didn't want to mutilate himself. Oh, Jesus. So she has to push out a whole ass baby out of her shit, but you can't get a little snippy that takes like 20 minutes. Mutilate? The balls are still there. They're just not attached, you dumb bitch. She's not getting castrated. They're still there. They just can't make babies with them no more. Are you stupid? Fucking... One of these, of course, you live in Texas, so I'm not exactly surprised by the mentality. Crazy how, like, they agree they didn't want to have kids, but the second she's pregnant, he's like, we're not getting an abortion. It's like, I thought you didn't want kids, motherfucker. What? It's against God. Man, God ain't gonna have to pay them bills, so who cares what God thinks about it? Also, abortion isn't really covered in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Modern day abortion. And even if it was, who cares? It's a fantasy book written by old people a long time ago. That's right. It's a book of fairy tales and fables written by men a long time ago. Okay, that's gonna get some hate, huh? To all the Christians out there, don't care. Your religion isn't more valid than anybody else's. Okay? You can't say that everyone else's is invalid and yours is valid just because you like your book better. It's not. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. Everyone's entitled to their religious beliefs. What you're not entitled to is act like everyone else is stupid and you're right. Because you think your book is better. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that was a tangent. Gonna get off it now. Yeah, didn't want to mutilate himself. Dumbass. Long story short, I filed for divorce a month after the baby was born. Nice. It took a little over 2 months for the divorce to be finalized, which was a month ago. Baby is now 4 months old, and the maternity leave that I was lucky enough to have is up. Yeah, that's how it works. Ex-husband has moved into his own apartment. I live alone in my home that I owned prior to marriage that I inherited from my grandparents. That must be fucking nice. That must be fucking nice. You just inherited a goddamn house from your grandparents. Jesus. You know, if I was you, what I'd do, I'd sell that bitch, if you can, and just get a small apartment or something, live off that money, invest it in shit. Because in this market, man, you get your hands on a house, that's free. Or rent it out, man. That passive income in there. I'm sounding like a crypto bro, but like seriously, in this economy, you can't have enough streams of revenue these days. Anyway, ex-husband has been visiting the baby here and there on weekends, but hasn't had the baby overnight ever. I've suggested it, but he refused. What do you mean he refused? Bitch, that's your baby. The fuck? Oh, this guy's pissing me off. That's your baby. What do you mean you refused? It's your baby. You had the baby. Not only that, you insisted and forced her to have the baby because you said you would turn her in if she tried to go out of state to get an abortion. So you basically forced her to have the fucking kid, and now you don't want to take care of it? Man, fuck you. What? To be honest, I don't really like being a mother. Oh, yeah. This is gonna make me sad, isn't it? To be honest, I don't really like being a mother. The baby and I just haven't bonded much. I've heard that sometimes it takes a while. I've been overwhelmed and I needed a break. I tried calling him and talking to him about agreeing to a custody situation. He blew me off and said he'll let me know when he finds a weekend that works for him. Well, that made me sad. 'Cause, God, that poor baby. I told you at the beginning of this that both of these people were going to piss me off. 'Cause, like, him more than her, because obviously she was well aware she didn't want to be a mom, and she, like, tried to take care of that, and he basically made it so she couldn't. So it's less her fault than it is his. But, like, now that you are a mother, the fact that you just trying to pawn the baby off because you're not feeling it, you're not feeling the vibe of being a mom and having a kid is... Oh, it makes me sad. Like I said, it's hard to be mad because, like, you can't help how you feel. You feel how you feel. Let's say she was forced into it, never wanted to be a mom, so I can't be too mad at her. I'm not really mad. I'm just sad. It's sad because I'm sad for that kid because that kid didn't ask for any of this, so it's sad. Anyway, I was really pissed. Yeah, I had this baby because of him largely, or I would have gotten an abortion. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah. I love my baby. You don't have to say that. You don't have to say that. I don't think you do. And I don't want to say that's okay because that's fucking awful. But again, you can't help how you feel. So, I don't think you do love your baby. Women who love parents who love their babies, don't talk like this about their babies. So, anyway. I love my baby, but I don't want to be a full-time mom. I want 50-50. I work from home as a software developer. I'm lucky enough to be able to watch the baby while I work, so I don't have to pay for daycare. That's nice. But I need time to be productive with my work, so I figure 1 week I can be unproductive while watching my child. The next week I can work extra hard to make up for it. My job is flexible, so it'll work for me. That's nice for you. Like I said, I'm trying not to be like mad at her because, like I said, she's not like she's entitled to have her feelings and shit, and like she never wanted this, and so it's hard to be too mad at her about it. But it's making me sad to read all this about somebody talk like this about their kid. It makes me sad. Sad is the word, not mad. My ex was dodging my calls, so I took our son and diaper bag and showed up at my ex's work. Damn. He works as a car salesman. He was shocked to see me and even more shocked when I handed him the baby. I told him, quote, "We're doing 50-50 custody. You have the baby this week. You can drop him off at my house next Monday," unquote. Hey. Messy. She was right when she said it was messy. Messy. He freaked out and said, "Who will watch the baby while he works?" I suggested he pay for daycare if he needs it. He said he can't afford daycare. We argued, and I told him to figure it out. If I have to figure out how to be a mom, he has to figure out how to be a dad. That is true. You had an equal part in this making this kid as she did. And more than that, you basically forced her to have it. So, yeah, time to be a pop. His parents are calling me every name under the damn sun. Meanwhile, they don't want to babysit for him. Of course they don't. Everyone wants to have an opinion, but nobody wants to actually help. Obviously. Am I the asshole? There's an edit, too. Edit. For all you suggesting adoption, I tried that while I was pregnant. Ex refused. I couldn't give the baby up for adoption without his permission. Also, I've contacted a lawyer about getting custody formalized, but I haven't heard back. Great. So, how are you the asshole? I'm hesitant to call her an asshole, because like I said, she was very upfront at the beginning about not wanting kids, and was very adamant about that, and very upfront and straightforward with that, and then was more or less forced into it by her ex-husband's behavior and such, and threatening to take legal action if she tried to go out of state to get an abortion, or couldn't. It said he refused the adoption thing too. So she tried, knowing full well she didn't want to be a mom. She tried the other avenues to try and make sure this didn't happen, but obviously it did. And so now we're here. And so I said I hesitate to call her an asshole because she never wanted this, never pretended to want it, and was more or less forced on her because of the situation. That all being said, now you have the kid, so you gotta be a mom to the kid. And so I think both of them, he's definitely an asshole, but I think that both of them are so caught up in their lives and what they want and their own shit and everything, and thinking that having a kid should change nothing about your life, that they're so busy with that the kid ultimately is going to suffer, right? Because neither one of them wants to be a parent, and that's very evident. So they're trying to pawn the kid off on each other and try to avoid at all costs being a parent for all intents and purposes. And that is so sad. That is so tragic for that kid, because the kid didn't ask for this. The kid didn't ask for these parents who don't want them. The kid didn't ask for all this, and so ideally I want both of these parents to get their heads out of their asses. I mean, understand that, yes, no, you didn't want this, but it's here now, so do it. Parent. You know what I'm saying? You made the choice. You did it. You went through the steps. Everything that happened, it's on you. It's not on the baby. And so, like I said, he's way more of an asshole than she is, clearly. But, at the end of the day, the baby's here now, so take care of it, both of you, and quit your bitching. That's. I mean, it's a hard situation, because the woman very clearly is being not a great mother, but she was aware that she didn't want to be a mother and never wanted kids, and so, this being forced on her, I'm sure she's doing the best she can, but she's not doing good enough, frankly. And so it's kind of a tricky situation where you're on one hand, you're swallow your shit and be a good mom, but also that's a lot easier said than done. It's not that simple, and if you don't feel what you should feel for the baby, you don't feel it, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm trying not to be super, super critical, but at the same time, you got opinions on stuff. And then as far as he goes, he's just a prick. He didn't want a kid either, but that forced her to have the kid for whatever reason. I mean, I imagine of some kind of religious reason. It usually is. And forced her to have the kid, and now is refusing to, now that the kid is here, refusing to actually take part in actively being a father to said child. So, like I said, messy situation. I guess my final verdict on who's the asshole, everybody's the asshole. Him way more than her a little bit, but again, it's not so much asshole, it's just she's forced into a situation she didn't want and is handling it rather poorly. But that's to be understood and expected based on everything that happened. So, I don't know. Everybody's the asshole. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's the asshole, and this situation makes me sad. That's what I got. Yeah. All right. That was the end of another one, folks. Like I said, that one made me sad. No real jokes, no big, aggressive, whatever, loud, whatnot. Just sad, because I feel for that kid, man. I mean, that's a rough situation that kid's going to grow up in, and that kid's going to feel unloved its whole childhood and whole life. Hopefully, the parents can get their heads out of their asses. Hopefully, the kid can find love from other places that are healthy. Sad situation. But anyway, thanks y'all for listening. Thanks for hanging out, being here with me on another journey through the interwebs. And before we go, it's time for the special message. And today's special message, oh boy, I don't know. Responsibility, I suppose. Take responsibility for your choices and your actions. 'Cause I suppose that kind of goes with the theme of what we were talking about. Just take responsibility, like I said, because the kid didn't do anything. The kid didn't do anything to be here, but now the kid's here, and the kid is your responsibility, and that goes to just in grander, take responsibility for your actions, people. Take responsibility for your actions, your choices, situations in your life. Sometimes it's not fair, right? Sometimes it's not ideal. It's not what you would want, but actions have consequences. Sometimes, a lot of times, unintended consequences, and you got to roll with them. You got to roll with the punches, and you got to take responsibility for what you've done. Even if, like I said, the consequences of the actions you took in were unintended, not what you wanted, you still got to take responsibility for them, because you're the one who engaged in that. You're the one who did it. You're the one who made it happen. So you got to take a modicum of responsibility for your actions, even if you don't want to. And that's rough, because sometimes you can feel like things are unfair and things are forced on you, and things, aren't what you want, and that very well be true, and you deserve some understanding and sympathy for that and some patience. But at the end of the day, it still is your responsibility and something that you have to take control of and do your best with. And that's just life, man. That's just being a person, being a human being in this world. It's fucking hard. It's hard being a person a lot of times, because we got to do shit we don't want to do all the goddamn time. But, your responsibilities are still your responsibilities, and you can't run from them forever. You can't avoid things forever. Everything's going to catch up with you eventually. Rent's going to come due, and you're going to have to face the music at some point. So take responsibility, take control of what you can control, and just do your best, man. That's all any of us can do, is just do your best with what you're given. All right, that's the end of that one. You're all doing fine. I'm sure you're doing the best you could. As long as you're trying, you're not failing. All right, and even if you do fail, that's part of it too. You get back up, you try again. Okay? Just because you failed does not make you a failure. All right? All right. See you on the next one. Or hear me in the next one, I guess. Peace. Oh, that was weird. Peace is what I'm trying to say. Peace out. To your mom.